today I get the opportunity to talk to Ricky Covington, who is someone that I've known for a little while now, but has made just big transformations, personally, professionally, and has, an amazing vision for where he's going. So Ricky, really looking forward to kind of talking. And I know, like, you and I have been talking about it since I started this. So, like, you're definitely geared up and ready.
I am. Nicole, you have always been instrumental in helping me start my opportunity and manifesting my dream and my vision. Because I can remember when you guys opened up the new location here.
Yeah.
And
that's when you and I met.
Yeah. I came to you and I said, Nicole, I'm thinking about shooting videos and shooting photos, doing photo shoots. And at the time, it was just a vision. It was just a start. And you, without a hesitation, you was like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And so you're instrumental in helping me
so,
start
that's
driving
amazing
toward.
to me because I don't even think about it. But
Yeah, so I want to give you kudos on
you're
that.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Because, it's important for people to, for you to understand that, certain people are going to help you get to your vision.
Yeah.
And, I'm a Christian. So, I don't deny that Jesus Christ is my personal Lord and Savior. So I got to give him his. And so a lot of times he not only brings people into your path, but people with vision and people with that have made great strides in life themselves. Because I know it wasn't easy for you to become who you became. And it was you're just an inspiration.
Still a struggle.
You're still an inspiration. And you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
thank you for that opportunity.
I appreciate that.
And it'll be, as I go on and as we grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger and take over the world, you're going to definitely.
I've told you a million times I'm watching.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
So let's take it back, though.
Okay.
Like, let's go back to the beginning. Like, where were you born and raised?
So originally, I was born in Rockingham, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Southern boy.
Yeah, I am. Home of NASCAR.
Okay.
Yeah. Rockingham Speedway. They had Dale Earnhardt Jr. was there, and Dale Earnhardt, and that type of environment, growing up in that type of environment and excitement, man, NASCARs, they always will have a place in my heart, just because of Rockingham,
Yeah.
It's not as much now.
You still go to the races now?
No, they don't have them. They don't have that. Yeah, they don't have them there
that's not
anymore.
even there anymore?
No. We gotta work on that. We gotta get NASCAR. Go back to Rockingham.
But
They're
like, you ever go to
waiting.
like Darlington or anything?
Yeah,
like you're down the road?
haven't.
Like?
No, I
you
haven't.
haven't. I've
Yeah,
never
I haven't.
been. I can't say that it's
Oh,
actually
God.
anything I've ever experienced.
Oh, yeah,
It looks like crazy though.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love basketball. Of course, I love football. But NASCAR is, I love NASCAR.
And like, so like big family, small family, like lots of siblings or no?
Well, it's so many people that are instrumental in the things that I do. I have IPPW, which is there are certain women that have played a major role in my life, helping me grow up.
Okay.
So the I, of course, is my baby girl, my indigo, my daughter. She changed my life. When she came into the world, everything changed. So I had to really tune in and understand what it took to be a man and what it took to be a father with her. Of course, P is Patricia Cummings, which is, I call her my mom. She's the one that helped raise me, and I wouldn't be here today without her.
Okay.
And the other P is Phyllis Peterkin, which is my grandmother, and she was instrumental in raising me also.
Oh, wow.
And then the W is my mom, Wilhelmina Green.
It's a lot of women.
Oh yeah, that's it. I've been raised by a village of women, and also Connie Rutledge. I can't forget about her. She came to me at a time when I had my daughter, and I remember specifically when I first started as a single parent, I was looking for childcare, and as a single parent starting out, and as a male on top of that, I didn't have a clue of what to do, and I can remember sitting in my car and just getting really emotional, what I'm saying, because I was like, how am I going to take care of my daughter? Who I got to work? Who am I going to get to watch? And so that's why I'm so big on prayer. And I'm so big on faith.
Sure.
Because I can remember sitting in that car crying and saying, Lord, who am I going to help? Who's going to help me with my child? And right then, Nicole, Connie Rutledge called my phone.
Oh, wow.
And she said, hey, how you doing? I said, hey, I'm doing good. Hadn't seen her in a long, long time. We're talking years.
Holy
She said,
cow.
I saw you going driving to the beach. And I was driving to the beach to start my training. I was starting to train. And she said, I heard you had a little girl. Congratulations. And she said, do you need help with your daughter?
Wow.
I mean, I just broke down and, you know, in
That's
tears.
crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah,
And,
that's how it happens, though.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but so it's like then like that kind of faith something that you grew up with as a kid, like, or is it something that you kind of found later in life?
I tell you, my stepdad, James Green Jr., Buddy is who we call it. Him and my mom were instrumental in making sure we were at church, making sure that we were, you know, reading the Bible and studying. So, however, as I grew older, you know, I strayed away from that.
Sure.
Right. And so as I strayed away from it, I remember one day in church during high school, and I had an anointing just come over, and I just started crying. I started getting really emotional. And I never forget that it's hard to come in contact with God and ever be the same. So even though I went down the wrong path a lot of times, it always brought that feeling that I got that day, always brought me back. And now I'm in a place to where I'm supposed to be with Christ.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful
Now you
beautiful,
recognize it more.
Oh,
It's
God,
really kind of
it's a beautiful,
what it is.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Nicole, this walk with God is extremely difficult. However, it's extremely worth it.
Sure.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, it's worth it. What he does and how he comes and how he comforts you and how he guides you and how he protects you and your family. There's nothing like it in the world.
How do you feel like, so, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, you know, but it's, you know, like faith is something like, I don't know, like in the South, it's like, you know, it's much more of a thing, right?
Yes.
And people are much more open about their faith and, you know, just kind of, you know, out there, right? Like this is who we are, you know, and there's just a better appreciation across the, you know, the spectrum, you know, in the Northeast, especially, like not really a thing. You don't talk about it. Like, you know, it's not, I don't know, like it doesn't, it's kept out of everything that you do. Right. And like, that's like one of the big differences between the North and the South for sure. And it's something I appreciate down here because, you know, like I'm somebody that like, I appreciate understanding people's motivations, right? Like, I mean, because if you're going to have interpersonal relationships, like understanding what makes you tick, you know, which is a lot of what, you know, we do here.
Yes.
You know, I just appreciate that. And it helps me kind of like just be able to have a relationship with you or anybody else to understand where you're coming from, right? Yes. So like understanding that, you know, faith is a big part of people's lives is helpful, right?
It is.
I mean, and to have it be something that's kind of hidden in a lot of other places, you know, I think is a detriment, right, to people that doesn't get realized. And it's something I appreciate down here. Oh, yes. You know, and like, so, you know, how else do you think, you know, like, obviously, like, we're going to get to kind of the in you and like all the stuff that like you know, your inspirations from there. But like, you know, how did it help you through school? Like, did you, like, growing up, you know, did you play a lot of sports? Like, or, you know, were you really kind of more like geared towards, you know, like your social hour was Sundays, you know, or, you know, how did that work out?
So, to be honest with you, to answer the question about faith, I think we have to go back to growing up. I was always, my goal was just play football. And this is how you're going to make it. And this is how, you know, everybody makes it.
So you played football in high school?
Right. I played football at Merida High. And I also played at Richmond for a little while, Richmond Senior High. And then, you know, I went off to college to Winston State, and I played there for a little while.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, worked with some really good guys. And I played for a real little while in Montana with Arena League. But
oh, wow.
that was what I think what a lot of people don't understand is what it does in life. Like when you're measuring success, right? Success, you can't measure success against another person because let's say that me and this person are in a class and we have a test and the highest grade on that test is 100. However, I score a 49 and they score a 45. I got higher than him, so yeah, I'm better than him, but we both got F's because you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're
measuring,
when you're measuring success, the way you measure success is, did you accomplish what God put you on this earth to do? Did you accomplish your calling?
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Right. It's specific to
your calling, right? Your specific calling. And I think once you get into your gift and once you get into your calling, then you understand that everything else was just trial and everything else was just test to prepare you for what God truly has for you.
Yeah.
And I think when you get into your gift and into your groove, you're number one. There's
Sure.
nobody who can compare to you. When you're doing your thing, you know it. That's
Yeah.
that's your gift.
Yeah.
Your numbers, you're numbers lady, numbers woman. That's
That
your
is me.
gift, you know? So
That
a
is
lot
me.
of times, you know, once you operating in that gift, then you know
Yeah.
that, you know, you're going to be successful because he created us all to be successful. And a lot of people, I just hope they really get this part. A lot of people, when it comes to success, this is why you should never be jealous of anybody that's successful, because people are successful because they follow a specific pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Success doesn't care what you look like, you know what I'm saying, what color you are, any of that other kind of stuff. Success cares about, did you follow these patterns?
Mm-hmm.
Did you be persistent? Did you have inspiration? Did you
Right.
use passion? Did you use, you know, integrity? Did you
Right.
have, you know, and all those things play a key into being successful. But
Sure.
people think it's just, you know, you can wish for it and it automatically occurs.
Yeah,
It
too
really
many people
does.
think
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. No, there's a lot more to it than that for sure.
A lot more.
So did you think that football then was your calling early on?
I really did, but I think that at that time I was following what everybody did.
Mm.
And I think I was more so thinking, okay, I just want to be able to buy my mom a house and my aunt a house and take care
So it
of
was about
them.
money and kind of
Yeah.
notoriety and stuff? Or?
It wasn't something that was my passion, but it was something that I
It was
felt
a
like
means to an end.
that was the way to make it,
Yeah.
because that's how everybody made it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Instead of using their brain, I
Yeah.
started using my mind, and everything changed.
So you said you played arena football for a little bit?
I played in Billings, Montana.
Oh,
I
wow.
went and tried out for their arena league, and I made it through like preseason. I ended up getting hurt myself, and then I had to, you know, make that trip back home.
So is
But,
that what kind of ended the football
it
career?
did. It really did. But I think that it was all a part of the process.
Yeah.
I think it
no,
had
you got to
to
accept it
happen.
as for what it is. Yeah.
It had to happen because, you know, with all that, it kept me training.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept that drive going. Because after college and after high school, a lot of people, they're like, okay, you know, I just go do my job, work a job, and I'm
Yeah.
done. But those steps kept me working toward where I'm going right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's instrumental in understanding, okay, well, I had to go through that to get
Yeah.
here.
So you've lived then in North Carolina and I guess in Montana. You spent
A
some
little
time.
while.
Anywhere else?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Well, what you can't really say is Marietta, Georgia. I graduated from Marietta High School.
Okay.
So that's where I graduated from, and shout out to the Blue Devils, you know, Coach Friday and all them who are the era I came up in, and I made some really good friends up there, and I learned a lot I learned a lot in Marietta, and I learned a lot growing up in that town and in that Atlanta.
What did you like most about it? Like, what's the most important thing you learned from there?
Atlanta is a place that's, you know, full of culture, and it's full of strength, and it's full of hardworking individuals that they're just on the move, and they're going all the time, and they're focused on what they need to get done, and they get it done. So I really love growing up in Atlanta. It teaches you patience too, because if you're in that traffic,
I was going to say that.
Girl.
They're going unless they're sitting in traffic.
that traffic is
That's-
bad.
yeah, that's no joke.
That's teaching you patience. So
Yeah.
I met a lot of people. I learned a lot, and it was just a part of me growing. But shout out to Marietta, Georgia, because that's where I started.
So how'd you end up in Myrtle Beach then?
So after I got through with Billings, I came back home, you know, tail between my legs, you know. Mom, gonna have to postpone that house. Got to wait
Give me
on
some
that.
time.
Got to wait on that Bentley. So I ended up coming back here, and didn't know what to do. So I ended up my brother Tony Cummins Loke. He was staying in Myrtle Beach, and I came up here, and him and his girlfriend at the time, Tasha McKinnon, I slept on their couch, and I came and slept on their couch, on the floor, wherever. And Nicole, I was working. I think I had 3 or 4 jobs at the time, security, all kinds of stuff, man. I was working extremely hard, just trying to get out of there. And I was the whole time I was trying to get on. Natasha was with the fire department. She was she was administrative with the fire department, and I had been trying to get on. She put that bug in my ear, and then I was like, I always, until I got, that's why I say knowledge is power. So until I really got the knowledge, and I didn't understand how important the people are to the service, and how important the fire service and the people of service, the fire service, the police officers, the nurses, how important they are to our community, and that they play such a major role in our everyday life, and they don't even know it. They mean the word, and the doctors, they mean the word to us. And I always associated, growing up, fire with policemen, and and I was like, I don't really want to be a fireman, just because how I grew up, I grew up on a rough side, under a lot of rough situations. So I didn't understand, but that's just ignorance. Until
like you said, I don't want the structure, or it was kind of like just those are like authority kind of things.
I associated fire and police, and I was like, I can't go back home and be like, hey man, I'm police. But I was completely oblivious to what it really truly stands for. It stands for honor. It stands for a code. It stands for morals. It teaches you how to communicate with others, how to work well with others. I learned so much. I learned a lot in teamwork. See, a lot of people don't understand with football. They think it's just, hitting and gridiron, but it teaches you how to work as a team. And so that team aspect can guide you through life and help you communicate better with others.
Sure.
But what it did was the fire service taught me accountability. And it taught me to, understand that the community is extremely important and instrumental in our lives, And the fire department gave me something that nothing in the world could ever give to me, especially when I got with Horry County. Horry County, they will always be near and dear to my heart because Chief Tanner, Chief Norkett, I gotta give a shout out to Chief Matthew Smith, and all the people, Chief Spain, all these people that played such a major role, instrumental in my experience into the fire service. Because my experiences was, you had to pass the test, you had to go through these confined space training, you had to go through these hazmat drills and stuff, and it was exciting. It was a great experience, and it's not all running into burning buildings, even though they do.
Well, so like when you decided that you wanted to go into the fire department, was it fire that interested you, or was it the EMT paramedic side? Because what's different here than a lot of other places is those two things are together. You do both.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I say you do both. You're hired to do both, but if
Right.
you're doing the EMT paramedic, then you end up doing a lot less fire. Is the reality of it.
Yep.
But did you come in looking forward to one more than the other?
Well, here's the thing. So I think that my medical knowledge that I have now is God guiding me again toward what he wants me to do in life.
Sure.
So when I came in, I was strictly fire. I
Okay.
went with Conway. I didn't have any recollection of the medical side of it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was strictly fire with Conway.
Okay.
And then as I expanded, as I got on with Myrtle Beach, because you had to be EMT there, I did a short span there. And then as I got on with Horry County, when I was in Myrtle Beach, the dream started.
Okay.
I started getting that. I would go on calls and I started getting that buzz. I started to say, okay, I love the fire side. I will always love burning the buildings, cutting cars, going to confined spaces. That's the grits in the grits in the butter. But the medical calls to me are so important because 90% of the calls that we run are medical calls. Yeah. And then you get in there as a medic. You're defibrillating. You're giving cardiac drugs. You're working
really making a difference.
Working full codes. You know what I'm saying? So you're instrumental in first hand saving this patient's life. A lot of times, this patient's life depends on you and your training. And I just caught that buzz, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a paramedic. Yeah. And the rest is history. I've been a paramedic for 6 years, an ACLS instructor.
Yeah, it's funny.
PALS instructor.
Dale had the same experience in that, like he he came in and wanted to do fire.
Yes.
He's like, I don't want anything to do with EMT. Like, like we have to, I know, but I don't really want to do it. Yes. And then ended up loving the EMT side of it. Didn't want to, the same thing. Yeah. If there was a fire to fight, like he was all about, like, let's go do it. But he liked the EMT thing. And like that, again, like it was something like that's what called to him. And I imagine it's kind of the similar kind of aspect of it.
You talked to Dale, because I told Dale that this was going to happen, and I told Dale that, I don't know if he told you, but I said me and Dale used to be partners. Oh, he's a really good partner of mine, and Dale is amazing, extremely smart. And his heart is so big. Dale will go and jump off a roof if he needs to do it for you. He has that kind of heart. And so we used to sit in the medic unit, and I'd be like, all right, Dale, one day I'm gonna make it. And look, I said, I'm gonna be famous. I said, and when I get there, I'm gonna tell you God did it. Jesus did it.
And I could picture Dale's face too, being like, the skeptic and
he's like, yeah, right.
all of that he is, from across the board, like just general skeptic, but also if you're going to be talking about God and all of that, he's going to be like, yeah, okay, Ricky, whatever. Like that's, you do you, man.
You know him well. You know him well.
Hey, we live together.
Yes, you do. Yes, you hit it on the head. That's true.
But so like that's actually like how you and I met, right?
Yes.
So that's the first time, like obviously you guys had been partners for a little while. I think by the time we had met, but we met here at Sky Fitness at one of our. I don't know, it was like a member event or maybe when we first moved into this particular facility. But I remember you and I talking, right? And like you had just stopped by just because, like I think Dale had like come in to probably fix something if I had to guess because, like that's
we had to come. We couldn't. I think we couldn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying like that's what I make Dale do.
Yeah,
so like
get
so
up here and fix this right now. Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, there's probably some sort of emergency in between calls. Sorry, Horry County.
It's all right. It's okay. We understand.
But also, I think we had fire trucks and stuff here too. So I think you all kind of came as part of that. But I remember you and I talking and having that first kind of interaction, and you being really kind of interested in like what drove me in kind of like how did you get started in doing this, and like Dale's told me all of the stuff that you've done, and like what kind of makes you like tick in that way. And like me being me, like I don't know, this is the way I've always been. Like I can tell you some of my thought processes, right? But like and you just expressing to me like I want to have a purpose, right? And like, I feel like I have a purpose now, but I feel like there's a bigger purpose for me out there, right? Like that was kind of the big message that I got out of that. And I think like it was more kind of at the time about from a business aspect, and you wanted to find something to do and a calling in that respect. But then since then it's kind of morphed into just something totally different. And even at the time, I didn't even think you were working out at the time.
Yeah, I was a little bit at the station, but I think that sparked when you're an inspiration. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because you're doing your thing.
You say that.
You are. It's not easy to do what you do, and to have your own gym and to run a gym and to run a business. It takes hard work, it takes dedication, it takes persistence. It takes a lot out of you and your
being
family.
a female doesn't make it any easier.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I was just inspired by your story, and I said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to let this huge major resource get away and I don't come in and pick her brain. Like I didn't even want to care. I didn't care about what I had done. I just wanted to find out what you had. I could just sit and just listen to you all day. I just wanted to be quiet and just say, okay.
Yeah, you were barking up the wrong tree because I don't talk about myself all that much.
Yeah, but I asked. I'll make sure you do.
No,
I'll
you ask
keep
me
asking.
questions, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
But so then after that, I guess, and I know, Dale was training for a competition at the time, I think too. So he was, kind of doing that and simultaneously loving it and hating life. Yeah. But I do remember him saying, that you did feel inspired by kind of seeing that transformation and the competition kind of thing to it, and that you wanted to kind of start doing the same thing. Right. I remember there being a really aggressive timeline involved.
You're right. You're right.
But I do remember you saying that, and kudos to doing it and sticking with it. So what was kind of that thing that made you decide like, I'm going to start going to the gym, and this is going to be, like a hardcore, because you live it as a hardcore way of life now. It's not just I go to the gym like, half of the people that we see. Right. This is, become who you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Which it didn't used to be. I mean, now understanding a little bit more that you were an athlete in the past, it makes a little bit more sense how you're kind of able to make that transformation. But like, what was it at that moment in time?
I tell you, and you're right. You are absolutely right. Now, when you asked me that question in the beginning, I was like, I was working out a little bit, but the bodybuilding aspect of it, I had no clue about. I had no want to even think about bodybuilding at all. And Dale, he was instrumental because I saw what he went through, and I was like, well, I tried, and that spawned the thought process.
You saw the pain and suffering, and were like, give me some of that.
It was like, I just want to eat one little piece of that Kit Kat. I was like, what? That's all you eating?
It was like, not even that. It's just I got to eat again.
Exactly. It was beautiful. And so I saw him go through that, But at the time I was weighing about 300 pounds. So
wow.
I had blowed up to about 300 pounds. And I was thinking, I say, look, I started this social media look, and I started looking at all these posts and all these other things. And I was like, how, I wonder if and this is just God giving me vision, but not showing me how I'm going to get to it. So when I saw the vision, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get to that, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted to say, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my fitness journey, which I already did. When my daughter was born, I said, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to commit to her, and I'm going to dedicate my life to her. And that's what I did. However, the way that God makes things happen is that he'll transition things and bring things into your life for you to follow a certain path in order for you to get to the goal that he has destined for you. So when that came into play, I was like, okay, I'm looking on social media. I'm seeing all these guys doing steroids. And I'm like, look, dude, you're telling these people that they can attain this goal and they can look this way if they just diet and don't and go to the gym and do 1 or 2 workouts. Yeah, and do 1 or 2 workouts. I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to take this journey and I'm going to make it, and I'm not going to use steroids. And that was the thing. And here's the thing. I'm not like against steroids. The way that it works is if you need steroids for a medical reason, like if that's something that you really truly need, that's okay.
It's also the look that, I mean, you're deciding the look that you want.
Right.
I mean, also you work in a health field, so like, I gotta imagine that
I see that.
impacts.
I see that, and I would see the kids, and that was the thing with me. I would see the young guys coming there, 16, 15, 17 years old, and want to start doing that. And I was like, no, I'm finna make a difference, and so I wanted to change. Make that turn. I said, I may not change it all, but I will spark the brain and say, okay, if he can do it and accomplish that, I can try it and go even further with it until it gets to a point to where it's a health thing. It starts to, steroids, or long-term use of abuse of it starts to affect your organs, your heart, your lungs, your liver. And people don't tell those stories about how, it's shortened the length of their lifespans. But, and I want the young kids to know that, you can make it or take a different route and still be successful.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, so even from just that moment in time where you kind of made that particular decision, then you were already thinking about, like, I want to be an inspiration and I want to be influential to other people.
Yes.
It was not even out of the gate, not just about you.
Right. It's never been about me. And I think that's where we get to talking about that. It's never been about me. It's always been about how I can impact people. And how I can give back to my community, and how it's the God in me. It's he's such a giver, and he's given so much to me that he wants to allow him. I pray and I thank him for using me. So he uses me as his vessel. So the love that I can give to somebody and inspiration that I can give to somebody, I pray that they see Jesus when they see me, because that's what the vision that I want to give them. And I want to let them know that if they keep going, and they don't quit when it gets hard, because it's gonna get hard. You'll make it. He'll make a way for it. Little by little, he'll put little pieces in there. He'll bring people into your lives. And he'll make different things happen. And you'll be like, is this a coincidence? No, nothing is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Nothing is a coincidence.
So after you kind of like got started, and I think I didn't even know, that you were in the gym for a hot minute, because you were coming like different, like I got a weird schedule, but you obviously got a weird schedule too, also being a paramedic. But so I think I like ran into you like, hey, like, so you actually did, start working out and like doing this. And I think even the first time I ran into you after that, like complete transformation by the time I even saw you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was already like, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I came home and said, Dale, have you seen Ricky lately? Like, holy cow, like he actually like is doing it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because I mean, like you see a lot of people in here, like everybody comes in, especially in the beginning of the year, like I'm going to make all these changes. Like no one, like, and it's like, so few and far between where people actually make a transformation.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
That's a huge thing. I think not long after that, you had said, like, hey, I want to start doing, some videos and all that kind of stuff, which you had mentioned earlier. And, I have people ask me, that, on the regular, and I'm always like, okay, well, what are we doing? Right. I mean, nowadays it's just a thing. People don't even ask, like half of them don't ask, because everybody's got the little GoPro, or cameras that they're carrying around with tripods filming themselves now, which, like in a gym, it's kind of not everybody loves it. Let's put it that way.
Right.
You know, there's people around you love it, but I get it, right? And if it's helping your process, like I'm with it. But like you were talking about something, a next level, right? Like I want to do this, you know, as kind of I'm going to put stuff out there, not just me.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, trying to, you know, look at me on my Instagram, but you like, you know, had this vision, you know, from the beginning. And, you know, I looked at it and I said, you know, like it's not something that I typically don't try to say no to those. And I know a lot of other places like get really kind of, you know, pissy about doing it and they're going to shut you down. But like, I look at it like, hey, like, and I think this is what I told you, like, look, just don't make a mess. Anything you move around, fix it. Anybody you're bringing in with you, make sure they scan a waiver or like sign a waiver, scan their card, like, you know, don't mess around, but like do your thing. Right. And, you know, it looks like, you know, at least then, like you were doing the Cov the Highness thing at the time, right? Which you're going to have to explain to me where that comes from.
I will.
But, you know, that was just kind of the beginning of, you know, that first round of like, you know, taking pictures, right?
Yes, ma'am. If you can, your daughter, Tina, I always have a joke with her. She would come in, right? And she would mess me all the time. This is when I was starting out and she would clock in. And she would clock in and she stayed like a long time. You know, Tina stays there a long time before she goes back home. And I would be in the gym so long that she would clock in and clock out. And I would still be, and she was like, are you crazy? Like, have you lost your mind? I said, yeah, I have. I have. But I was shooting for a goal, you know? I was shooting for a goal. And when you're shooting for that, when you got that vision and you got that hunger, you don't have really a lot of time for thinking about, you know, okay, can I go to the movies, or can I go on a date, or can I go on these different places? So I was just so focused on accomplishing, getting toward this goal, getting toward these dreams, that I didn't have time. I didn't care how long I was in the gym. But as I progressed, as I got, you know, as I grew and as I got better, then I was like, okay, I can't be working out for 8 hours a day. That's not going to happen. But my mind and my body started to develop to the point to where I didn't have to. To go back to what you had said, the transformation started when not only did my mental change, and I think people don't understand, this is a mental game. So if you're negative in any type of way, then that's gonna have you go backwards.
Oh, sure.
It's not gonna allow you. A negative mindset would never allow you to go forward. So your mindset has to change first. And, you know, like I said, I always commend you, because like you said, a lot of people would have been like, when I first started out, they would have been like, nah, man, that ain't something that, you know what I'm saying, we're going to allow and we're not going to have. And I would understand. I would respect that. But I knew that I had to get your permission. I wanted to get your blessing. There's no way I'm going to come in here in your house and start shooting something without your permission. Like that, we don't operate like that. I've never operated like that. And so when you said, and like I said, that's instrumental. That's monumental stuff, because every great person, and I'm not a great person, Christ is great, but every person that started out with a dream, that reached that dream, that reached the pinnacle of the dream that they have, had to have somebody that said, okay, you know what, go ahead. You know, go ahead and do it. And I'm just thankful that you gave me that opportunity, because one day you're gonna have posters in here of me, but that Arnold Schwarzenegger poster, when I look at it every day, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. And but yeah, that was instrumental in, you know, in my reaching my destination and going toward my destination and accomplishing my dream. Because Nicole, people aren't dreaming anymore. The nation is spiritually bankrupt. And they can get back to the real, you know, what the real essence of civilization is with Jesus. You know, it's gonna come. But I do a lot of reading, and so I've read a lot of books like Think and Grow Rich, and I've read, you know, How to Raise Your Own Salary, and, you know what I'm saying, I've looked at how these different books have transcended with Napoleon Hill. And in the beginning, Andrew Carnegie talks about, you know, the principles of success, and then Napoleon Hill is actually the one that's interviewing him. So then when Think and Grow Rich came out, in the original book, which is How to Raise Your Own Salary with Andrew Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie specifically says that without God, you will fail. That's one of the key signs of failure, is not having God in your life. However, when Think and Grow Rich came out, it was more of a intelligence thing, like higher intelligence thing, but God wasn't the center of it. And it's the thing about it, not bashing The Think and Grow Rich or Napoleon Hill. Those are great books, absolutely great books. Go and get it if you don't have it. But the aspect of we've got to get back to our essence, which is one nation under God. And once we understand that, then I think that we'll start to grow and we'll start to rebuild, because right now we've got to get it to a point to where we're back at the top. Like we Americans have the mindset and the drive to run everything because we're built that way. We're born that way. But however, if we're focused on, the negative results, or if we're focused on something that's, that's not going to benefit you health-wise or mental or physical-wise.
If everything we do is based off of fear and no inspiration, that's a problem.
That's
it.
And
that is I agree that is kind of a big, it's what's holding us back and pushing us backwards a little bit.
Yep.
In this day and age. And
yes,
I mean, that's why I like, even, in the podcast, like I tend to, I try to get those people that I find that are inspirational because again, like I just, and I mean, I'm talking to everyday people, right? Like you don't have to have, influencers that have 1 million followers or like someone who's a celebrity or whatever. Like you can get inspiration. And to me, there's even more inspiration from everyday people. That are around you. That are doing things, right? And like that's kind of why I, structured this the way that I did in the whole impacts and adaptations thing, because I think it's important to see like, everybody has impactful events. And like most of the time, those impactful events are not positive, right? But it's what you do with that. What it then inspires you and influences you to how it expect you change, what do I do next? How do I use this? Is really, I think, what people need to hear about. Right? Like that's exactly what
that's exactly what they need.
Yeah.
That's what they need. And everybody has a story. I can learn something from, like, whenever I go anywhere, I speak to everybody, whether it's the janitor or whether it's the CEO of a company. I'm speaking to everybody because you can learn something from everybody, and everybody has a story. And everyday people is so good to watch somebody that just didn't give up. Like I don't care what you do. I'm not going to quit until I get it. And there's something inspirational about that. It's something that inspires people for them to say, okay, you know what? I like that person. I like that girl. I like that guy because, he never gave up. Period. Yeah. It's one thing that I used to say when I told someone, I said, about my daughter, I said, I never want to look at, when people ask me, why do you keep going? Why did you keep going? Because I said, I would never want to look at my daughter. I couldn't look my daughter in the eyes and say, Daddy couldn't do it, because it was too hard, and still be alive. And still be alive. So whatever it is, I want her to know that if she works hard at it and she focuses and she keeps her mind on it and she keeps pushing and she doesn't give up, she can accomplish truly anything in life. And she keep God first. Yeah. You got to keep him first.
So, kind of like fast forward in the transformation, like you started doing a little bit of marketing and started, the big transformation in terms of lifestyle and all of that. And having the goal from the beginning of you were going to do a competition. So when was your first competition?
That's a good question. My first competition was, I think in April of 2022, maybe. Okay. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I really can't remember because I did like 3. It feels like forever when I first started because when you first start talking about bodybuilding, which is a passion of mine, like I love bodybuilding so much because the thing about it is that it really tests every part, every essence of your being. Like
that's for sure.
It's the only sport where you gotta do exactly what you're supposed to do or you're not gonna get the results. Like you have to. You can't cheat. You can't be like a football, basketball player, like, okay, I'm gonna go practice and now I'm going to the club to have fun. No, because if you take that one meal and you look in the mirror, you're gonna see that one meal.
But it's also mental fortitude. I mean, that's the big thing about that as a sport. It's anybody can come in the gym and throw some weight around and even get some gains from doing the workouts, but the mental fortitude involved in competition prep
Yes.
is insane.
Yes.
Right. And one of the things you talked about earlier is, in terms of success and having kind of like a path and a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like a clear place where that is, because once you start getting carb deprived,
That's right.
if you don't know what you're doing next, you ain't going to figure it out at that moment in time.
No,
That's
you're
for
done.
damn sure.
You're done.
You're barely having coherent conversations at that point, right?
You're zombied out. You're like, what? Who am I?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Just give me a bite of something that's got some sugar in it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
It's brutal, but the thing about it is that what it builds on the inside is that people don't understand the things that you do, they kind of bleed into other things in life. So if you give up in this and you don't work hard in this, then that's going to bleed. You're going to be a bad parent. You're going to be a bad CEO. You're going to be it bleeds over. So these little wins, people don't understand. That's why it's so important to keep going at what you're doing, because the little wins, they add up to big wins. And you those little wins, they seem like they're not much. They do at the time, and nobody's cheering you on, and nobody cares about what you're going through. But in your mind, you got to keep saying, I know I can. I know I can. I believe, I believe, I believe. And eventually, you'll start seeing things unfold and write your goals down.
How did you see, especially when you get into kind of like, you're 12 weeks out, like, the actual prep kind of, I mean, obviously, like your bulk period, you're good, like life's good, right? But like once you get into, like I'm 12 weeks out, have you seen that kind of affect, your work balance, like, with your daughter? I mean, cause like, I lived with Dale, I'm not doing it, but like I lived with him, and it, it's, there's a lot going on there.
You're right. You're not yourself, because I think what people, it's more of a psychological thing, because eating is habitual, and I think people don't understand that. So if you eat, like if you eat a candy bar at 12 o'clock every day, or at 3 o'clock every day, then once you go start, you start slimming down, and once you start depleting those carbs and taking those carbs away, then around 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you can start having some real problems.
And mentally, like it's missing. Something's missing.
You're not able to grasp it, because it's not you, it's your emotions. It's your habitual habits that have made you into that person that you are. So when you take it away, your body's like, I'm in control. I'm in control. So you're going to do what I say.
How have you been able to kind of, like you're not riding on the ambulance anymore, but like you were when you were doing your first couple of shows, I remember. Like how were you able to kind of work out like your eating schedule? Because I know like that was one of the harder things for Dale, is just because, I mean, if you got back-to-back calls and like you're supposed to eat every 2 hours,
yes, ma'am.
And if you're not getting, the macros, you're going to see it, right? So like how have you kind of been able to kind of navigate that successfully?
It's tough, because when you're on shift, you're working 24/48, so you're on shift for 24 hours. So you think you can grab a meal, and you got a call for a cardiac arrest or respiratory arrest or some type of structure fire. You don't have time to eat that meal. You got to get your gear on. You got to get out of the door. So a lot of times, what you have to do is you have to eat at periods that aren't structured in the time frame.
Make up your own timeline.
Right. You got to make up your own time frame. So sometimes you got to get that 6 meal in. It may be 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, but you got to get it done. And the thing about it is, it's different forms of, that's the traditional way of doing it. I'm working on things to do it a different kind of way, but the traditional way is you got to eat those 6 meals. You got to get, all that food intake to build up your metabolism enough so that when you start taking the food away, you get that ripped effect, and that depletion. Your body wants it so bad that it starts to burn all the fat off. And so a lot of times, I think if you're in the fire service, it's a lot harder, but I had a good balance. I had a good team with me. I had Jack Bond. I had Chris Farmer. I had Proc. I had a lot of other people, I had a lot of other people, Chief Smith. I had a lot of people that were cheering me on. They helped me. They really helped me, because, I would come to them. They'd be like, hey, man, did you eat? They'd be like, hey, man, let's go get this workout done. And I was like, look, man, I've been up since it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You really want me to do it? But, they helped me out a whole lot. So that your team, your support team is extremely important when you're talking about and instrumental in helping.
I don't know how you did that, being carb depleted. Like, how are you like doing calls? Like, I mean, I said to Dale at the time, like, boy, I'm not calling your ambulance. Like, Something happens to me. Somebody else needs to come grab me because I'm trying to talk to you and nobody's home.
Nobody's listening. Why are you barking? Why are you barking right now?
Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, people do this. You don't understand until you've actually, like, seen it. And, like, I see so many people, you know, at this point, they, like, you're just like, oh, that's where that part of the diet. Like, got it. Okay.
I know where he is.
On. Don't talk to him for a week.
He's licking the wall.
Because we're not getting any information out of that one. Yeah.
He's no help today.
Yeah. He's barely vertical.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's tough, but you kind of, you know, you have to understand that this is a part of the process. And when you it's like it's now or never. Yeah. So if you miss that meal, if you don't get, it's that discipline.
Yeah.
It's discipline.
What about the shows? Like, how did you feel about the actual, like, active competing and, getting in front of everybody?
Yeah.
And saying, judge me. Like, because that's the thing I've said, a million times. Like, I could do the diet. I could do, the discipline part of it, but getting up on stage in front of people and saying, please judge me. Nope. Not happening. So how did you feel about that? Like, how did you kind of acclimate to that? Or, I mean, are you just that much of an introvert or extrovert that, like, it's natural? Like, the look at me kind of aspect just comes naturally.
No, ma'am. It didn't come natural. It was difficult for me because, you're right. You're standing on stage and everybody's looking at you and judging you. But I think that you have to learn what your strengths are. And when you're able to know what your strengths are, and you got to know what the judges, what they're looking for, and it's so important for you to learn the profession, learn from people that have been there before you. Look at videos of how people are moving, how they're, what poses they're doing, what poses get this cheer, what poses, you got to do your homework on it. And I think it's all, the nervousness will go away along with, more competitions. But as you develop in the learning process, the more you learn, the less nervous you are.
Okay,
because it's in the preparation. It's in the preparation, but it's still not easy. Getting on stage, you're sweating, your tan is sweating off, and you're like, oh my God. Especially the first one, it's horrible.
Haven't eaten.
The first one's horrible. You're cramping. You got things cramping. The nipple. How does my nipple cramp? Like what? It's like,
that's new.
Like, what is going on? I need to go to the doctor. I need medical assistance. But yeah, it's a tough profession. It really is. That's why I really.
So how did you recover? I know everybody kind of has a different process to it. So, like, post-show, like, what did you do to recover? Did you just do, like, I'm taking off from the gym, I'm eating whatever I want to, or did you kind of keep it on point?
You can't stop. You can't stop. Now, here's the thing. See, this is natural bodybuilding we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, you really can never stop. Like, you can take a little time off, but you can't stop. You always have to keep. It's good. You need to take time off for yourself. You have to take time for yourself. However, it can't be long. And you still have to eat regulated. You have to eat small amounts. You still can't pig out. Because if you do, you're going to lose it all. And then you're not going to be able to go to the next competition. So what you have to do is you have to say, okay, look, what I do is I got to go. I write my goals down, and I look at my goals every day, and I shoot for those goals. So I know that, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I got to do this. So I can't stop and not do this because I know the outcome. I know the outcome of me eating McDonald's every day. I know the outcome. So I say, okay, I can't do it that way. And just also prayer. Yeah, I got to go back to it. Prayer, and if you meditate, whatever you do, like that has to be instrumental in what you do because that's your mental health.
So you just it's because a lot of it's because you knew this wasn't the last one too. I think.
Right? Oh yeah, you gotta have a plan.
Like you weren't like doing a one and out. You know, like Dale, who like now has never worked out ever again.
Yeah, right. That's my guy though, Dale. Like, I'm with you, buddy. That's my guy. The best half is speaking. That's all I'm just saying. I'm with you, bro. You're my man.
Hey, he lives the life. Like like he eats whatever he wants. Like he could get away with it. But like. Yeah. He has a, I think he finally said the other day, like, I should go back to the gym. I'm like, it's only been 3 years. But
And it wouldn't take him long. You know, Dale,
No,
he
yeah.
get in shape real quick. He really could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like his muscle memory, and I mean he's athletic, so like a lot of that would kind of like pick up.
Yeah.
Pretty sure pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you had your most recent show
Yeah.
this past December, right?
Yeah.
And
Myrtle
so that
Beach.
was like your third one.
That was my third, I think, my third show, my third natural bodybuilding show. And
So
it's
you know
hometown.
what was different about that one? A lot more comfortable, and it was local. It was here.
It was here, yeah, and I had all my family and all my friends there, and we went in and did, I got the best entertainer of the show, so that's a win for me. So I'm getting more comfortable on stage,
Okay.
and I'm learning myself. I think you got to learn. You got to spend a lot of time with yourself, Nicole, and you got to learn who you are. Because once you get comfortable and you're saying, okay, these are my strong points, these are my strengths, this is what I got to do to accomplish this goal, then you're more comfortable and you're more in your element. And now I'm starting to really get into my element to where I'm like, okay, I don't care, let's go. Because I know what I've been through already, and my story is, a lot of people can't, don't know that, I weigh 300 pounds. They don't know about about being a single parent. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know about, being, working 3 or 4 jobs, trying to maintain. That's why I have such a soft spot for, single parents and, and I do. And so I commend you, the moms that had to raise like 6 kids on their own. Like I got a soft spot for me in their heart, but I had to go through it to understand, wow, that's hard to do. Yeah. I mean, you're a superwoman, even if it's just one child. Doing it on your own is tough. It's tough. And so I think.
So what does your daughter think about the whole bodybuilding thing and like your competitions? Like, does she go to the shows?
She does, and she's 5 now. Indigo Rain Covington, August 14th, 2018. That's my girl. So, but she doesn't really understand. She knows that. I think the most important thing with Indigo, with my daughter, is showing her. As she gets older, then she'll really appreciate it a little bit more. But right now, she don't really know. But I just want her to understand that it takes discipline and it takes hard work. So now I'm just building habits on her. I'm building habits for her to understand that this is what it takes to look like this. So I want her to see what it looks like to be around a healthy person, to want to eat healthy. And then I'm molding her so that, when she grows up, she grows older, it won't be so hard for her to get in shape. She'll understand that the power is in her.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about that. So, because as I mentioned, like when you first kind of started doing the photo shoots and things like that, it was really just like a Cove the Highness kind of thing.
Yes.
Which you haven't. Time out. You didn't explain Cove the Highness yet.
Okay. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm finna get a penalty.
Circling back.
Right. No penalty.
You never actually answered the question.
Yes, ma'am. So, Cove the Highness. The way Cove the Highness started was I've always wanted to have a clothing line, and I always wanted to have a clothing line that would transcend and change the world, right? So I was thinking about like how can I make an impact. And so I was watching one of the channels it was a cable show that had the royal family in it or something. And so I was looking at that and I saw that, the royalty aspect of it. And so Cove is my last name. And I was like, well, I like the concept of the royalty, but I want to show my gratitude to the one true king. And so the Highness, Cove the Highness was me and God. That's why I go by. That's my Cove the Highness. I go in Cove the Highness mode when I come into the gym. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm focused on what I got to get done. Let's get it. Let's get it, baby.
Yeah.
So
you've recently changed it though. So like now,
yes.
You got the In You thing, which I mean, full disclosure, I think is just a much better platform, right? Because it's when you explained it to me the first time, it makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you this too, the big difference about it is it's much more obviously not about you. Right? Like that is something that everybody else can relate to, right? Which is I think what's important to it.
And that was the main goal of what I wanted. So I'll tell you this story and I'll make it quick. So Cove the Highness came out. I started the LLC, sold to everybody in my family and my friends. After that, I didn't sell a shirt. So we 5 years deep, right? And I'm not selling anything. So I'm like, all right. I went to prayer. Went in my prayer closet. I said, Lord, look, I spent all my money in this clothing line. This is my dream. This is my vision to get it to the world. And all my money is gone. And so I gotta shut it down. I'm gonna have to let it go. And probably one of the hardest thoughts I ever had in my life. But I said this. I'm gonna tell you this, Lord. I'm gonna make this. And you don't make deals with God, but I was just, I was pleading with him. I was like, please, man, give me something.
Yeah, you're desperate.
I said, here's what I'll do. I said, before I let it go, I'm gonna completely commit to you. Completely commit to you. I mean, I'm not gonna play around with it. I'm gonna go all in for you. Completely commit. And Nicole, that night, I had a dream. And in that dream, it was the N and the U in a symbol. And
like that just came to you?
Yes, in a vision. And everybody was wearing the shirt. The world, like everybody, it was like millions of people wearing the shirt. Everybody was loving it, having fun, enjoying it. And I woke up and forgot the dream.
Okay. Well, that's not ideal.
I say, Lord, come on. You gotta don't do me like. So Indigo was with me, right? She was watching Coco Melon. So I said, sweetie, go ahead and watch TV. I'm gonna go ahead and make you breakfast, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I started doodling on a piece of paper, and it came back to me. I ended up drawing it on a piece of paper. Okay. So as soon as I drew it on a piece of paper, I put it on a shirt. Nicole, when I put it on that shirt, I knew that was it. Yeah. I knew that was it. And I knew that it wasn't that's what I always wanted. I wanted people to know, okay, Calvin Klein, that's his thing. Ralph Lauren, that's his thing. In you, it's your thing. Yeah. The key to success starts in you. You make it to what you want to make it to. It's your life. Build a new line. Build a new brand. Build your life into whatever you want it to be. God put it inside of you already. It's in you.
Yeah, that's what I like about it is that it really it kind of just goes along with that inspirational aspect of what I think you've always talked about.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and that's how in you came about, and now we're all in. And I'm not stopping till the world gets it. It's like I'm on fire for it, man. Like I don't care. Like it's just God has given me the mission to get it to the world, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think, and you also
these are your gifts. These are your gifts, by the way.
Thank you.
Had to come
like my NU shirt. I got my Cub to Heine shirt at home.
Yeah.
But this is another copy of my magazine.
Yeah. I gotta give a shout out to Crave Fit magazine. William Young, man. William, the owner of Crave Fit. I got to give him a shout out because, he's instrumental in making me a cover model. Because I think a lot of times you look for opportunities. It's monumental people and it's pioneering people like yourself, like William Young over Crave Fit, that are pioneers in the game, that have been there. And for them to give you an opportunity is great. So what they did was they had the Biggest Loser in one of their other magazines. They had a cover with somebody else. And I ended up getting a spot in there because I had lost all that weight. Yeah. And Will gave me a shot. And then I said, look, one day I'm going to be on the cover. He was like, well, he's kind of laughed a little bit. Yeah,
all right, you got work to do, but
you
maybe.
Will. You know what it takes to be a cover model? Like, you're going to be on the cover, of course. I say, I will do it one day. And so I kept working, stayed in contact with Will, started talking to Will. He's such an amazing guy. William's an amazing man. And I told him, I said, look, I'm ready. I said, I'm ready. Here's what I look like. And that's what I look like. He said, he gave me the opportunity. So shout out to Will, man. Crave Fit magazine, man. Go ahead and go check him out. Shout out to Will.
And you have work-wise, you've kind of evolved and changed a little bit of what you're doing there too, right?
Yeah.
So again, more kind of community based stuff, right?
I love Nicole. I love the people. I love the community. First of all. But with what Horry County is doing, we're gonna plug them because I already told them about how instrumental they were in helping me. As far as I tell you a story, what kind of department I work for. So when I was trying to get childcare, they got a mandatory list on there that you have to work mandatory. That's what you have to
overtime.
do. Yeah. So you might get hit with 48 hours shift.
Don't plan any vacations.
Yeah, you got to do it. You just got to do it. It's part of it's in the contract.
Yeah.
This indisclosed contract. So a lot of times I was having trouble with getting childcare. I wouldn't have childcare, and a lot of people went above and beyond. That's all I'm gonna say. Than what they have to do in order to make sure that I got childcare. And departments don't do that. Like Horry County Fire and Rescue, that's why I say they'll always be dear to my heart, because they say, you know what, instead of, they could have been like, look, man, he ain't got child care, I don't care. Let's get somebody else in here that doesn't have need child care.
That doesn't have the same problems.
They didn't. They stuck with me, and they made resources available for me. They went above and beyond for me. So Horry County Fire and Rescue, if you're looking for a job with the fire department, come to Horry County, because they really care about you. They really do, from the top to the bottom. That's why they're number one right now. So shout out.
And so now you're doing like community outreach stuff, right?
Yes.
So,
So what they're Go ahead.
No, tell us about it.
Yeah. So what they're doing is, what Horry County Fire and Rescue is doing for the first time ever is they put together a harm reduction program. So what they're doing is we're going out within 24 to 48 hours of the medical call to the actual overdose. Is to combat the opiate crisis that's in Horry County specifically. So we'll go out within the 24 to 48 hours of that medical call, let the patient know, okay, look, not only are we going to help you on your road to recover, we're going to meet you where you're at. We're going to help pay for your transportation to rehab or treatment. And we're going to pay for a proportion of rehab to help you out. So that's something that they've never done. So I think a lot of people got to understand when it comes to dealing with addiction. And that's what we're talking about. Addiction is a disease. That's what they got to understand. So if you think, addiction is easy, then I tell people, try to put on that piece of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Try to walk past that piece of chocolate cake and don't eat it.
Yeah.
So, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're living in, their lifestyle they're living in day to day. And that's times 1,000. They're feeling. That's times 1,000. So we got to understand that a lot of times I've been all the way from the Grand Dunes, the top of the top, all the way to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And we all are
everywhere.
affected by it.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
And so Horry County is making big moves and helping people, really changing lives. So like I said, we got like over 8-9 people already in treatment. We got a 17-year-old that's just finishing up, And so Horry County is really, really making a difference in the community, because this is actually changing people's lives.
Yeah.
Like when somebody goes through an overdose and a cardiac arrest and they're administered Narcan, meaning that they actually died, so their heart stopped. So we had to perform medical procedures in order for them to get resuscitated, in order for them to be living today.
Yeah.
So they had to either get defibrillated, or they had to get cardioverted, or they had to get administered some type of cardiac drug in order to get back, or they had to get administered Narcan. You know what I'm saying? But they're here now.
Right.
And so, but without that medical treatment, they would have died. And the fact that we're saying, okay, look, we don't.
It doesn't end there.
Yes, my partner.
That's the important part.
Yeah, my partner's his name's Christian, and he's an addiction specialist. He's really instrumental, really good at what he does. And so, but what he does is we let him know that we're here to help you. We're gonna meet you where you at, and we're gonna support you, and we're gonna make sure we're not just gonna say, okay, these are the resources. We're gonna help you all the way through the process, and we're not gonna leave you alone, and we're gonna let you know that Horry County has your back, and we really want to help the community, and we really want you to be a success story.
Do you find a lot of so? What's kind of the reaction from people that you're working with?
I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of when the job first came open, I think people were like, "Man, you're going out to overdoses and people that are overdosing. That's gonna be a horrible experience. And how are you gonna do it by yourself? And you guys are taking it." But I saw a vision, and I saw an opportunity for me to get into the community and actually start talking to people. So in the beginning, they're really stand backish. But once we go in and they know that we're sincere and that we actually really want to help them, then they say, okay, wow, Horry County is making these kinds of, providing these kinds of resources in order to help me. But yes, it's to help you and help everybody. And then they're like, okay, I want to try it. So we've had a very positive reaction.
Great.
And as this grows, as everything grows, I think more people will say, okay, I'm not alone. And the more success stories we can have with addiction and with treatment, they can say, you know what? Wow, he made it. I can make it. And that's what we want. We want to have those. Yeah, we want to have those success stories. So people
that's
come
awesome.
Back.
I didn't even know that was going on. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're doing. Shout out to Chief Tanner, Chief Ben Lawson. You know what I'm saying? All those guys are Norkit. They're all instrumental in Loper. They're all instrumental in putting this program together for the community, and they really care.
So when's the next show?
We're gonna announce that later. I'll tell you later, of course, but the world will have to wait.
Is there one coming up?
It's something big. Yeah,
are we getting ready to?
It's something big.
Is bulk starting soon?
Yeah, it's starting soon. So we'll be starting in a week. In a week.
Oh,
start
so a
bulking.
week. So imminent.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's coming up. So, and I will let you know, but I'm not
Okay.
going to announce it to the world just yet, but it's big.
Yeah, because you're
It's big.
switching this
Oh,
year,
yeah.
right? So you're
Yeah.
going from the shows that you used to be doing,
Yeah.
which were a different program, so now you're going to NPC.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're gonna step it up, but we're not going anabolic with it. We're gonna take the natural route.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just put our hat. It's a win-win for me either way, because I don't do it for the trophies, and I don't do it for the recognition. I do it for God.
Yeah.
And so I just want to let them know that, hey, man, we're here. We're not scared, and we're not backing down, and we put the work in. So you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. We're not scared. We're coming.
So you're ready to get started then. You're ready to are you back in the gym? Like
Yeah. I've been going pretty tough, man. I've changed up my eating habits a lot. So I've started some different things with, working with carbs and working with, working with proteins and working with, different supplements,
and playing with your macros,
Yeah, and trying to, tweak things but I'll be dialed in. I've been dialed in from the start, but I'll be dialed in here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be ready to.
But so you've been kind of on a rest period then, recently?
No, I haven't been.
What is rest for you?
Well,
I guess
rest for me is not doing anything.
Different than everybody else. But but this is you're about to start basically, because you've been kind of in the.
I've been I'm more.
So where are you starting from? Let's see.
Right, where I'm at.
Let's see where you're starting from.
Well, that when you have the best abs in the world, you got to you got to put it for the world. So.
All right, keep it PG. Oh, okay. All right. You'll get there.
Yeah, I get it. It's coming.
So what category are you gonna do this
It'll
year
be classic.
then?
Yeah,
So you're gonna stick with classic.
Yeah, it'll be classic. Yeah, we're gonna stick with classic. Yeah, we're gonna crank it up here in a little bit and start eating, bulking it up. Right now, I'm just ripping it all up for everybody for them to see. Yeah. We're gonna bring it.
All right, cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, good luck, because
Thank you.
I mean, like I've said, transformation has been, just amazing, inspirational,
Thank you.
And I mean, you're just a positive force, when you're out there, working out, and, something I think everybody kind of out there that's looking to, make some sort of transformation,
Yes,
so they
ma'am.
see what you've done.
Yes,
I mean, it's obvious to everybody that kind of sees you, and I'm sure everybody you're working with and everybody else in your life. So I mean, keep it up, and like this, I think you're right. I think you're onto something with the in you thing, because I think that's something that resonates, and you just got to be the the poster guy for it, and keep kind of walking the walk. So
I want to thank you for this opportunity. I do, for what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're displaying true people with inspiration that really want to make a difference in the world that's not for themselves. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity and everybody else the opportunity to have a platform. Thank you for the platform. Thank you.
I'm trying.
Yeah, thank you.
Started small, but
Thank
I'm
you.
trying.
Don't worry.
I'm trying.
Especially after this, it'll crank up. It's going to crank up. God is good.
You were the key?
God is good.
The whole
No, I wasn't. God was the key, not me. I'm never the key. No,
well,
ma'am.
yeah.
But I want to say I would never be where I am or where I'm going without the people in my life. Those are the people that have made me who I am. God has made me who I am. I can take no credit for anything, because he is the one that gets the glory. So when I go and I get on stage, or I perform, or they see me taking my shirt off, or they see me doing all these, it's all for his glory.
Yeah.
And all for the people that stuck with me, Nicole. They stuck with me.
Yeah.
That means so much.
Well, I think the gratitude is really, it's a big part of it, right? Like, you were talking about success before, and I think, that's one of the key aspects, is that if you don't have the gratitude, you're not going to reach the success, because you're not going to know what it is. You're not going to recognize it when it comes to you, because you're not sitting there taking the reflection part of it and saying, I'm thankful for what I have, and I mean, this is something that I'm guilty of, all the time too, is especially if you're somebody that has the mindset that I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to get somewhere. It's hard to recognize where you are and what you've accomplished, right? So it's it's hard to stop and be in the moment, right? And I think that is kind of one of the keys to success. So you gotta sit back and say, you know what? just look where I am, you know, from where I came from, and like I'm thankful for these things, right? So like I think it's something that that you kind of embody, you know, more than I think a lot of people that you know that I see. So that's impressive.
It's an amazing experience right now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And thanks for sitting with me.
Yeah. Oh, anytime.
Yeah, this
anytime.
was great.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Yes.
We'll come back.
We're gonna check in.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.